CS 120 Lab 1, Pause and Practice Activities. For these activities, you'll be using the MS Office in Practice textbook located within Moodle. You'll notice it here near the top of the page. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and get us started. In the new window that opens, go ahead and click on the book, and then you'll click on the Read Now option. Once the book opens, you can go ahead and move to different portions of the book by clicking up here on the main menu. You can get to different portions of the book at this point. I can click on Table of Contents and go to certain aspects of the book. We're going to be starting here within the intro portion, so go ahead and click on here. We're going to actually, for this particular pause and practice activity, need to be on Intro-25. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click up here. When you enter the page number that you want to go to here, it's a word followed by a dash and then a number. In this case, it's going to be Intro-25. And this will move us directly to that page. You need to scroll up and down depending upon your browser in order to see the entire page of the book. For this case, the Pause and Practice Activity 1 is at the bottom of the page. It gives a quick overview of what we're going to be doing during this activity. And you'll notice here for this activity we're going to need a file. Now these files are located within a .zip file on the Moodle page, so I'm going to go ahead and go back there. Go ahead and scroll down the Moodle page until I get to week 2. So here within this week there is a lab files. You go ahead and click on this to download it. Now that it's downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open File Explorer. Here it's my downloads folder. In order to get inside of the .zip file, I'm just going to double click on it. When it opens, there's a folder in here called Data Files. These are the files that we're going to need. So I'm going to take this, click and hold the left mouse button. I'm going to drag it and drop it in my Documents folder. And that will copy those files. I'll then open the Documents folder, find the folder Data Files, double click on it, and then here is the list of files. Intro, that's this particular chapter. I'll go ahead and click on that folder. And here is the file that we'll be using for this. This is an Excel file. Let me go back now to our book. Okay, let's go back to the book. And we're going to need this file. We have it now, so let's go ahead and go to the next page. We're going to skip step 1 here, so let's just go on to step 2. So here we're going to pin some Office apps to the Start menu. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the Start menu, and then we're going to go to Access, which happens to be at the top of this list. So this is a program, and we're going to want to pin this over in this area over here. So we will right click on it and click Pin to Start. You'll notice that it's placed here at the bottom. Now here it wants us to pin some other items such as Excel, so I will find it and pin to start. I'm using the middle scroll wheel here to scroll through this list. Go to PowerPoint, pin to start, and then I'll find Word. And I will pin that to start as well. So it wants us to now think about this. So these are tiles. I can click on any one of these and I can open that application. Next thing it wants us to do is move these within the Start menu. So I'll scroll back down here. I can actually pick and drag these and move them around. Move them around into different locations that suits me better. Now I can press the Escape key now, and that'll close the Start menu. All right, step 3. We're going to use Cortana, as I call it. I call it just the search bar. And I'm going to click in here. And it wants us to type Access. So I'll type Access, and we'll find it there. Next step is they want us to pin this to the taskbar down here. So I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to pin to taskbar. So it's going to show up at the bottom of our taskbar list here. We also, it says to right click on Excel tile. I do have Excel open at this moment, and what it's talking about is if you have an application open, you can actually pin it. So I had calculator open here. If I close it, you notice it disappears. So I'm going to look here for calculator, and I'm going to open it, and it will appear on the taskbar. If I right click here, I can also pin it to the taskbar through that method. Okay, let's move on to step 4. It wants us to create a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to come back over here. I'll go to the Start menu. I'll scroll down and I will click on PowerPoint. So here is our PowerPoint presentation, and I'm just going to temporarily minimize this. And it just says to create a blank presentation, and then click on the title to put this information. I'm just going to copy this in here. Go back to our PowerPoint presentation. Go to blank presentation. Here is the click to add a title area. Oh, that's interesting. That did not copy, so let's go back here. So I'm going to copy that. Finish the copy. Go back over here, and I'm going to paste that. So now we have that title, and it wants us to save this. So I'm going to come back over here. In order to save this, you go to the File menu here, and we're going to save it in a location. Doesn't matter where. So I'm going to click Save. I am going to go to the Browse button to find the location on the computer. I'm going to go to Documents. I'm just going to go to the data files here that we had set up, and I'm just going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this My Files. Click in there, and we'll just call this American River Cycling Club. That's a good name, and save that. So let's go back over here. Actually, it did want us to create a new folder, which is good. I'm not worried about what the name of this is or the name of the file. I just wanted to show you how you do these actions. In this next step, it says to open an Excel file, and we're going to save this as a different file name. So I will go down to my taskbar to where I have Excel already. I'll click on that. Go back to our instructions here. It says click the Open Other Workbook links, the bottom left. So if I scroll down here, this does not have that option, but instead I'm just going to click Open here. And it wants us to go to the location where we saved our data files, go to the intro, and then we're going to open this ARC 2018 file. So I'll open that. Now one thing you'll notice up here is it's got this Enable Editing option here. It's because these were downloaded off the internet, and it's just trying to keep you safe. So I'm just going to click the Enable Editing button here to turn that off. So let's go back to our instructions here, and it wants us to click the File tab, and then we're going to do a Save As in the same folder we opened it with a slightly different name. So I'm going to go over here to File, Save As, Browse. Okay, we're in the right location. Go back to our instructions. We want to save it as pp-intro-1 with our initials. So I'm going to type OBM pp-1, and I forgot the last part, or intro-1b. 1b, and I will save it. Okay, our next step is going to be using the Tell Me feature to find a command. We're going to click in the search box, type in pivot table. So come back over here, and I'll type in pivot table. You notice I don't need to type the entire name. And let's continue, and it'll find different pieces of this. So I'll click on that, and then this is going to open a new window that allows us to create a pivot table. We're not going to be doing that, so I'm just going to go ahead and close that here. And the next thing it wants us to do is open the Microsoft Store app. I actually have it opened already, so I'm just going to go ahead and close this, and I'll walk through the process of doing that. So I just go to the Start menu here, and I will type Microsoft. Didn't have to type the whole thing, so I'll just go ahead and open it. Next step it wants us to do here is to click the Apps tab in the top left. So I clicked in the wrong area, so the Apps tab is right here. So I'll click on the Apps. There's certain applications that you can load as part of the Windows environment, and you would just click on these and walk through the instructions. Okay, let's go to the next page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to minimize this by clicking on the Minimize button. I'll go ahead and reopen that just to show you in the upper right here. There's two options. This is called Minimize, and this is Maximize. Minimize will place it on the taskbar. Okay, we're going to click on the Action Center on the right side of the taskbar. The Action Center is this icon in the bottom right. And once we click on there, it says we're going to click on All Settings, click on Find a Settings, and it'll be Printer. So I'll click on here, and I have the All Settings here. So I'll click on this, and I'll go to Printers. So this allows us to find certain settings in Windows. In this particular case, we're looking at printers. We can look at the items that are located here, printers or scanners. We can add a printer, etc. Go ahead and I'm going to close this out. Okay, and the last option is going to be using something called Task View. And this allows you to see what open applications you have, otherwise known as tasks. So there's this button here. If I can click on this, you'll notice it opens up all the different windows that are on the taskbar currently open. In this case, it says to click on the Microsoft Store tile, which I'll click here, and that will reopen the Store application for us. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this, and that's it. We're done with Pause and Practice Activity 1. So let's move on to the next Pause and Practice activity. It starts on page Intro 43. So I'll go up here and I'm going to type Intro-43 to move to that page. So this one's asking us to open Microsoft Word and open the ARC Training Intro file. So let me go ahead and open Word. Go to Open, click Browse. Click the wrong one. I want the data files, the intro data files. And you notice here, for whatever reason, it's set to open PDF files. I don't want that. I want Word documents. So there's our Word document. I'll open that. Let's go back to our instructions. So it's asking us to save the file to begin with. So to save, we have to do a certain activity. That is going to go to the File menu, but I'm going to click on Enable Editing to start with here. So I'll go to File, and I'm not going to click Save. If I click Save, it'll save it as the same file name. I want to save it as a new file name. So I'll go up here and I will save it with my initials. And it says PP Intro-2A. So I will add that. PP-Intro-2B or A, I believe it said. And click the Save button. I'm going to rearrange these windows a little bit to make it easier to do this work. So I'm actually going to take this window and I'm going to grab and hold it with my left mouse button. I'm going to pull it to the right side of the screen And then I'm going to let go, and this will create or move this window so that it covers half of the screen. And then I'm going to click on the Word document, and this will open it in the other side of the screen. So now I can read through here and work on the document at the same time. So what it wants us to do here is, in step 3, it says select the first heading. What is the maximum heart rate? So I'm going to select that. I do this by holding the left mouse button down, dragging it over that, and then letting go. It says to click on the bold button. The bold button is up here on our ribbon in the font group. So I'll click on that, and that will bold this. It also wants us to do another step, which is an underline. This has a little drop down next to it, so I'll click on that. And it says to do the double underline. So now we have bolded and placed a double underline on this. Next says click the launcher in the font group, which is this button here. So I'll go ahead and do that. And here it says select size 12. So we're going to change the font size. It also says we want to change this to small caps. So this will capitalize that line for us. And then it says to click the OK button. So it made some, the reason it did make a change is because I unhighlighted it. So let's go back through this again. So I'll go back to font, choose 12, and then small caps. Okay, so it made a slight change to this. Let's move on to step 4. We're going to be adding some properties to the document. So here I'm going to click on the File tab, and then it says to click on the Info option here. And we're going to do click the Add a Title box, which is here. So we'll go ahead and type the title, ARCC Training. Now it says to click the Show All Properties, which is at the bottom down here. And we're going to click Specify the Subject under here. So let's find the subject, now, which is right here. So we'll click on this and type Heart Rate Training. Press the Enter key. And then we'll click on the company, which will be American Riverside Cycling Club Center. So we can click back here to move back to our document. And we're going to make some changes now to the Quick Access toolbar. This is in step 5. Quick Access toolbar is this item up here in the upper right. We can customize this by clicking in this area here. And it says to add the spelling and grammar option to this. I don't see that in my list here, so I'm going to go to More Commands. And I'll scroll down our list here, and there's spelling and grammar. So I can click here, click the Add, and it'll move it over to the right, which will be added to our Quick Access toolbar. Click OK. So now we have the spelling and grammar option available here. Now let's move to the next page. I've already done this. So we're on to step 6. It says to export this file as a PDF file. So we'll go to the File tab. And then we're going to click on Export here on the left, which is here. Here's the option to create a PDF file. Also, there's one called the XPS, which is a Windows proprietary format file. We're not going to do that. So here, it will allow us to save this as a PDF file. You notice it says here under Save as Type. We could change this by clicking here and choosing the XPS file format as well. So I'm going to save this in our data files. I'm just going to save it in the same location as we had here. And I will click the Publish box. And that opened up this in Adobe Reader. You can go ahead and close this. Another way to save this, instead of going through the export option, is to click File, Save As. You can go ahead and choose a name. I'm just going to pick the same name here, and I'm just going to add a 1 behind it. If I click Save, that is not what I wanted to do. Save As. Go to Browse. And here where it says Save As Type, I can actually choose PDF from this list as well. I find this a little easier than using the export option. So let's continue down our list. Here we're at step 7. Now here it says to create a link to share with your instructor. We're not going to do this. So let's move on to the next page. We're not doing any of this portion here. And we're on to step 8, which is just to save and close the document. So what I can do here is I could go to File Save. I also could click on this button on the Quick Access toolbar, which is what I'll do. And then I will close Word. Let's now move on to Pause and Practice Intro-3. So this is on page Intro-50. So once again, I'll go up here. Type Intro-50 to move to that page. So in this particular Pause and Practice activity, we're going to be working with some PowerPoint files. So the first thing we want to do here, it says, is to copy and rename a file. So I'm going to open File Explorer. File Explorer is this yellow folder icon on the taskbar. So I will open that. Remember how we were able to set these side by side? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this window again, pull it away, put it back, and this will allow me to put the file manager over here. Okay, so we're going to go to our student data files, and it wants us to select the ARC membership intro file. So I'll click on that. I'm going to then click on the View tab up here to open our options, on the Home tab. And then I'm going to do a Copy To option. And I'm going to choose the location to copy this to, which is at the bottom here. And I am just going to copy it back to the same location I'm at right now, which is under Documents, Data Files, Intro. And we're going to name this. Now click the copy button here and notice that it did place a copy of this, but it put the word copy at the end of this because we can't have the same name twice within the same folder. If I'd have chosen to put this in a different folder, it would have retained the same name. Okay, now it's asking us to rename this. So I'm going to click on this, go back to the Home tab, and click on the Rename option, which is here. And this is, once again, we're going to be putting our initials, PP-Intro 3. And I'll press the Enter key to save that. Now it wants us to create a new folder and move some files. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the Home tab and I'm going to click on a new folder, which we're going to call ARCC Italy Tour. Press the Enter key. Now if we read here, it's going to have us select a group of files that we're going to place in that new folder. So the first thing it says is to select that file here, and I'm going to press the Control key and I am going to click on each of the other files that we have created here. And then I'm going to go back to the home key, click the Move To. Once again, choose a location, which will be the Italy Tour location. And I'll click the Move button. Alright, so one of these it won't let me move because I haven't closed it yet. So I need to go back to Excel and I need to close this file. And then I'll click Try Again and it will finish the move for us. So I'm going to go ahead and open this folder. Let me back up. I opened this by double clicking the left mouse button on the folder. So this opened that folder. I can move back to the previous folder by clicking the Up button here or the Back button. I'll click the Up button. So that's moved us back to this main location. The last thing it's going to have us do here is create a zipped folder. So once again, I'm going to make sure that this is highlighted. I'm going to click on the Zip button. This is under the Share tab and in a new group. So there is the folder here. So I'll click on that and that will have taken this folder, placed it within a new folder. You'll notice the folder has a little zipper icon on it and it has this file extension .zip. Okay, that finishes the exercises, the in-practice, pause in practice activities for this first lab.